Good evening and welcome to The Bottom Line, a wrap of some of your top business news stories of the day. My name is Nzinga Kunta and we begin as usual with your number of the day. Today, that number is $2.6 trillion. That, according to the World Economic Forum, is the collective GDP of the African continent in 2020. So the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, which was meant to launch yesterday, was going to try and harness the power of 1.1 billion people of working age and promote intra-Africa trade. That has been delayed, of course, due to the coronavirus pandemic. So in 2017, according to the World Economic Forum, less than 17% of trade took place on an intra-Africa level. So plans to launch the area were delayed due to COVID-19. Let's find out how this is impacting some of the biggest economies on the continent. I'm then joined by the Minister of Trade of Africa's largest economy, Richard Adebayo. Thanks so much for your time on SABC News this evening. You've said there's actually an opportunity for Nigeria in the delay of the free trade area.
Thank you very much, Nzinga. It's good to be with you. Yes, I did say that, but we have to look at it in context. Looking at it in context is very critical. As you know, Nigeria was one of the last to sign on to this agreement, and the reason is the significance of Nigeria and the African economy, with a very large domestic market of over 200 million people. By definition, the issue of whether we're a net beneficiary of this delay becomes important, as we're a natural magnet for exports across the continent in the African Continental Free Trade Area world. The delay has afforded us the opportunity to do a more thorough job of the ongoing work of determining empirically how our economy may gain or lose in specific areas of trade in goods and services. Furthermore, it allows us to drive beneficial harmonization with extant treaties such as those we have with ECOWAS.
Okay.
Also, of course, in any case, the treaty is still being ratified. It still needs to be ratified and will then be domesticated. So this just affords us more time to get all these things done.
Okay. When I was looking at Nigeria's trading partners, out of 15, I think 3 are African countries. How do you foresee this changing, if in any way, in the future?
As I'm sure you know, 2 of the 3, that is Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire, are part of our ECOWAS trading bloc, while the 3rd is South Africa, the largest economy after Nigeria. We believe that in addition to the impact of the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement, the likelihood that the COVID-19 pandemic will also lead to the shortening and regionalization of global supply chains will also lead to a shift in the structure and dynamics of our trading partnerships, and therefore more trade with African countries. Of course, there's still a bit of catching up we all need to do, especially with regards to production and trade infrastructure within the continent.
Mm-hmm. According to the African Trade Law Center, and I'm quoting them here, 88% of Nigeria's intra-Africa exports were crude petroleum oils, almost half of which were to South Africa. Is there a need to take a look at the type of products that Nigeria is exporting now and in the future?
Indeed, yes. This is something we have long pursued. Elimination of tariff on 90% of tariff lines and reduction in non-tariff barriers due to AFTA will result in increase in Nigeria's exports and exports of commodities and manufactured goods to Africa and other continents. Because if I can quote from our AFTA Impact Assessment report, and I quote, Nigerian products will become cheaper than imports from other continents, and therefore demand will grow. And Nigeria's productive sector is advanced compared to most other African countries, so Nigerian producers are better positioned to take advantage of the rise in demand. And 3, the rise in demand will result in higher prices for Nigerian exports in Africa, which will incentivize productivity and growth in domestic output.
Okay. So we've spoken about how the implementation of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area was blocked by COVID-19, and also across the world and across the continent, economies are going to suffer even more as a result of the pandemic. Nigeria's economy is said by the Statistics Bureau to have ended 2019 with a trade balance deficit of 579 billion naira. So you're already starting the year off in a challenging position. COVID-19 is going to make it worse. What's your department, alongside the Nigerian government, doing to mitigate that impact on your economy?
Well, a key part of, we have to know that a key part of Nigeria's overall industrialization strategy is the increased domestication of production. This was always going to drive a reduction in our trade balance deficit. However, as you pointed out, with COVID-19, there will be a shortening of global supply chains. So it will just further accelerate what we're trying to do.
Mm-hmm. Nigeria's Minister of Trade joining me there via Zoom, Richard Adebayo. Thanks so much for your time on SABC News this evening and on the bottom line. So let's leave Nigeria and come to South Africa now, where the South African Broadcasting Corporation management and trade unions have held their first consultation meeting over planned retrenchments at the public broadcaster. The meeting was held under the auspices of the CCMA and marks the beginning of the formal consultation process regarding the intended layoffs at the company.
The SABC announced 2 weeks ago that it intends to retrench 600 workers. It cited poor finances as the reason for that. Now, the first consultation meeting with worker representatives had to be adjourned early due to technical problems, which made it impossible for some union representatives to join virtually.
Because of technical errors, we did not sit. However, there was quite a number of clarifications that we sought from the employer, amongst others, that we have given the employer a range of questions and submissions to which the employer SABC has not responded as yet. And in the meeting itself, the SABC was lambasted by the Commission to tell them that whenever you are asked questions, you should respond to them immediately. So what we deduce from that is that the SABC is not really serious in the process.
Workers are crying foul.
We are concerned about public broadcasting and its future under the proposed structure. We believe that it will decimate the spirit of public broadcasting, and we also believe that the South African public deserves a coherent, functional, and highly competent public broadcaster.
We did write to the employer asking for openness and transparency and sharing of documents so we can see what the structure looks like, we don't know, and also see what processes they followed post the skills audit. For us, it's just been the transparency and the lack of openness in their dealings with us.
SABC management declined to comment. The layoffs are scheduled to begin in September. Mongene Mocho, SABC News, Johannesburg.
Right, before we go, let's take a look at the indicators. According to the JSE, at the close of the markets today, the rand trading at 16.97 to the dollar. We can see that recovery continuing. 21 rand to the pound. In your commodities, a barrel of Brent crude oil is trading at $42.30 a barrel, and platinum at $813.62. And with that, we leave the bottom line. Sapiso standing by to take you through the rest of your primetime news. Good evening.